Documents obtained by the GOP show 400,000 illegal migrants have been flown into U.S. airports since 2023. All of them are, by definition, inadmissible, meaning that if they tried to enter the country legally, they'd be turned away. Sheriff Mark Dannels joins me. Sheriff, why would they do this? 400,000 inadmissibles flown in. Why?
Well, Stu, first of all, if we look at the fact, we've been talking for 3 years about the policy failures, and I agree with that, but we need to look at this as an orchestrated plan by the administration, President Biden, to open up our borders. These are open borders. What you see is state and locals doing the job of the federal government, because we realize that if we don't do nothing, we're in trouble on these borders. Bringing 400,000 people in our country, a lot of times at darkness on planes, and sending them around, and once they touch U.S. soil, they're here to stay. It's just another avenue to let people in the country. If you look at this administration, Stu, they talk all about humanitarian. They've set aside public safety, national security to do what they're doing.
Sheriff, Axios reports that the administration wants to beef up its border team. So they're bringing a Homeland Security official into the White House. Is that an admission of failure?
I think it's more rhetoric than it is failure. They know they failed. President Biden, 2 months ago, made a comment that the border is not secured. Finally, after 3 years, he made that comment, but he blamed 10 years worth of congressional failures on that instead of his own. He has no will to secure this border. He won't even meet with sheriffs, national sheriffs, and major sheriff associations in this country. We have tried. He won't meet with us because he doesn't have the answers to address our communities. So he ignores it. He avoids it. But the continued open border is happening every day.
Do you think his objective is the long-term change in the very nature of the United States? After all, if you've got 10, 12, 15, however many millions it is, they come into the country, by the time of the next census, they'll be counted as people, and that will change the electoral structure of the states. Is that what he's doing, deliberately changing the nature of America?
I think so. I wouldn't have said that 3 years ago. I wouldn't say that 2 years ago. I will say it today. I think there's two reasons, Stu, that he's doing this. Number one, it's vengeance toward President Trump. Second of all, he's doing it because he is changing for electoral, but he's also changing it for politics to enhance the Democratic Party. And I hate to say that, but there's no doubt this is what he's doing.
Quickly, in Georgia, they're now required to ask an inmate about their immigration status. Is that something that you would like to have in Arizona, asking questions and where you're from?
I think it's very important. State, local, and federal. The key to success, the key to safe communities, we all have to work together. The caveat on that statement is the federal government needs to do their part. They got to match state and locals that are doing their jobs every day.
Okay. Sheriff, always a pleasure. Come and see us again real soon, please.